The conclave that legally elected Cardinal Cyril as Pope Gregory XVII was started on the 25th of October, 1958. It was the next day, on the 26th, that Pope Gregory XVII was elected. With him denied access to his throne, he joined his fellow cardinals in the ensuing conclave. And after 2 more days, in which the conclave continued behind closed doors, on the afternoon of October 28, 1958, the world was presented with a new pontiff, the Patriarch of Venice, Cardinal Angelo Giuseppe Roncalli, who took the name Pope John XXIII and eventually emerged onto the balcony of St. Peter's Basilica. He was considered unexpected, primarily because of his age. He was almost 77 years old at the time of his election. For many within the church, his election appeared to be that of a transitional pope, a man whose advanced age clearly suggested a very brief pontificate. Not only was his emergence as pope unexpected, the name he chose was also unexpected: John XXIII. Why was his papal name unexpected? It was because history once witnessed something remarkable in 1410, when Baldassare Cosa was elected pope, and he took the name Pope John XXIII. But his claim to the papacy was later judged invalid because another pope already existed. In other words, once a validly elected pope is still alive and had not validly resigned, any other elected pope is invalid. Such was the case in 1410, when Cosa was elected Pope John XXIII, while Pope Gregory XII was still alive. So, when Cardinal Angelo Roncalli took the same name, John XXIII, conservatives cannot help but try to connect the dots as to whether a similar scenario was being replayed, given the previous valid and lawful election of Pope Gregory XVII just 2 days prior. Notwithstanding, the second John XXIII was highly respected for his vast experience in extensive diplomatic services he had in Bulgaria, Turkey, Greece, and France, even though he was not generally viewed as the dominant favorite before the conclave began. He was also known for his smile, yet behind that gentle smile stood a man preparing one of the boldest decisions of modern Catholic history. Because barely 3 months after his election, on January 25, 1959, Pope John XXIII gathered a group of cardinals at the Basilica of St. Paul. These cardinals assembled in expectation of an ordinary meeting. Instead, they had an extraordinary announcement. The Pope announced his intention to convene an Ecumenical Council, and according to witnesses, the cardinals sat in stunned silence. Why call a council? On a norm, councils are called only when there is a major crisis of faith. The Church faced no single doctrinal crisis comparable to the Arian controversy or the Protestant Reformation. There was no new dogma awaiting solemn definition. Instead, Pope John XXIII envisioned something different. He spoke of aggiornamento, an Italian word often translated as bringing up to date. The phrase would become one of the defining expressions of his pontificate. Preparations began immediately. Rome established commissions composed largely of experienced theologians and senior cardinals. Their task was straightforward. Prepare draft documents that the Council Fathers would discuss, amend, and eventually approve. By every outward appearance, the Council promised to be orderly and carefully guided. Yet, beneath the surface, the brotherhood of darkness, the evil fraternities who had before now infiltrated every ramifications of the Church, had other sinister plans. Plans that will eventually overthrow everything that was Catholic right out of the window. The date was set, and on October 11, 1962, for the first time in nearly a century, the successors of the apostles would gather in Ecumenical Council. No one present could fully foresee what would unfold over the next 4 years. The decisions reached and the interpretations that followed would become an eclipse, obscuring the true and authentic Catholic worship, theology, and the spiritual life of the Church for generations to come. The council had not yet begun, yet already history had begun to change.